Well, YouTube, we're back a week later with Twitch chat in tow, but also some friends to discuss the episode with. Last week we just had Mr. R. Now Bacon from our Vinland Saga videos is here too. So, Bacon, introduce yourself first.
Yo, hey, I'm Jarkey Bacon.
That is indeed him. Mr. R, reintroduce yourself again to the people who definitely watched last week.
Hello, I'm Reicha7. I mostly stream video games with the odd bit of anime discussion.
Yes,
as we're doing now.
They both have channels. They'll both be linked in the description. Mr. R, Reicha, the real name, talks about Attack on Titan sometimes. Bacon, not so much, but Bacon talks about other anime things. Should go over, check them out. But on to today's episode. I guess we'll all start with what we thought briefly in a few sentences. Bacon, do you want to go first?
A few sentences? Now that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty...
Wait, Bacon, hold on. Before
what?
You should tell everybody that you watched all the episodes today, correct?
Yes. Do you want me to give my thoughts on everything so far?
Fuck it, go ahead.
Let's
go.
All right. I'll just be honest. I am a bit of an anime boy when it comes to Attack on Titan. I don't know what's about it, but I generally prefer the anime adaptation. Yeah. But I will say I'm pretty apathetic towards Attack on Titan after the final chapter came out, and just seeing the discourse, I found it quite tiring. On top of editing a big video that you can go see someone on someone's channel, I think all my...
There's goodbye in the title, I think.
Extra energy. Yeah, it's a goodbye in the title. All my extra energy that I would probably show for other series or the series I enjoy as much as Attack on Titan kind of just went out the window. Yeah. So I had to be convinced to catch up. I was like, oh, I may just binge it at the end with another friend or something like that, But these lads were like, oh, we want to take your opinions and put it on our channels. Yeah, and so I was like, okay, I relinquish. Yeah, but I will say I may not be as engaged as I was in even season 4 part 1, but this watching the anime did reignite some of that. Oh man, Attack on Titan. So it's kind of good.
Yeah,
I'm kind of enjoying this. So there's a lot of things I forgot, and I was like, oh, those are some cool moments. So I was popping off in the Discord chat. So
yeah,
it's good times. I'm enjoying it so far.
So specifically about today's episode, anything specific?
There was just a few scenes that I thought just, like the Ymir when she's walking up, stumbling over. That was like really powerful. I think it just kind of conveyed how tragic Ymir's life is, which I didn't quite just clock completely when reading the manga originally. So it was very impactful, and I very much enjoyed it. And there's a lot of small things, like often when you're going through these chapters, there's like small panels, but in like an anime, it spends like a second or two just establishing the whole thing, so you recognize a few things more. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I think a lot of the stuff you said we kind of hit on last week about the little things becoming bigger in the anime and things like that. Besides that, I guess to catch you up on the discourse, we've been talking a lot about the directing this season and liking that, the violence and liking that. It's been more than previous seasons, but other than that, I think you hit some nails on the head there. But Mr. R, would you like to give Reicha? We're gonna drop the habit eventually. Today's episode specifically for you. How are we feeling?
Yeah, so obviously I think known a bit as the anime fanboy. Even though, funnily enough, as I said before, last time, in my group, I'm the manga purist, comparatively. But yeah, yesterday for me is one of the best days we've ever had for anime in general. But I thought the episode was phenomenal. There's maybe a couple of little things, but I think it's still potentially up there with like the likes of Perfect Game and Hero in terms of how fucking good it was.
Yeah.
Couple little points. I know, Kyle. I saw you had some thoughts on the Ymir bit, and I imagine there's a couple of things from the Ymir flashback. There was one bit that particularly stuck out for me that was a bit like, but then there were other bits that they expanded on, like just scenes that they drew out a little bit that really, really worked. And also, I think we need to talk about how whilst previous episodes may have escaped some censorship. This one, unfortunately, was hit a little bit more with it.
Really? I have not peeped any censorship, so it'll be interesting to get into that. Firstly, just briefly on something Bacon said, and then Mr. Reicha kind of reiterated on it, was Bacon said specifically about Ymir, like, being chased. I actually didn't like that she was making noise when she was getting chased. Like,
I was literally thinking.
Is that what you were thinking? Okay.
I was like, I was like, Kyle's not gonna like this.
Yeah, I was, because I think I'd said a million times leading up to today that I really like that chapter 122 has a lot of silence for me. I like that it's very quiet. But yes, that was one part that was the only part I'd say I didn't like. The rest of it, the Ymir stuff, I was kind of, I guess I'm going into my 3 sentences. But the Ymir stuff, I don't think it was bad at all. It wasn't offensive at all. There wasn't really any cool... Well, there was a little bit of cool directing, even though I don't know how I feel about the POV shot of her falling in. I think it went on like 2 or 3 seconds too long. It was a little weird. But they were trying, which is... I always sound really mean when I say this in retrospect, but I think is more than we can say for season 4, part 1. But outside of that, all the other stuff, like the beginning bit and the end bit, I really liked. Go ahead, Bacon.
Mm-hmm. I was referring to actually her in the Paths world when she's stumbling, not the when she's getting chased. Mm-hmm. So like when she's like pushing the sand of one of the big feats, and like she's like just falling over. I don't know. That was what I was referring to. But yeah, I did notice. I was like, okay, it does make sense that she would be like panting and out of breath and making a noise for that. But I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting. I never really thought about it. Just her being pure science.
Part of me was
I guess
like,
the only thing we'll ever hear out of her. Is that
like the Paths bit? Yeah, they definitely extended that. Her building the Titans is a single panel.
Yeah, it's a 2-page, isn't it? Yeah,
it's almost a double page. Almost. It's a double page spread, but it's combined with Eren saying it ends now, so it's not a full double page spread. But that's basically all we got.
Yeah, it was a little extended.
Benefit of viewers. They extended that to like this 2-3 minute shot of her sort of stumbling and trying to build the Titans, and I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I think that one worked. I was kind of okay with that one. Part of me was thinking, just on what Bacon was saying initially about the scene that I mistakenly thought he was talking about. Part of me was like, can you pant if you don't have a tongue? But the answer has to be yes, right? I'm just being dumb as fuck.
Yeah, you just can't shape the sound that you're making, but you can make a sound.
Yeah. Actually, on that point, this is just a small point. I guess it's going to be the first thing we talk about in big group discussion here. I don't know if it was too clear that her tongue got ripped out, because she does get pushed afterwards, which is a neat little touch of like she gets pushed in the direction of the dude that's getting his tongue ripped out. I honestly don't think until I did my review on that. I don't even know if I would have been streaming by then, but I don't think I clocked the first time that her tongue also got ripped out, and that's why the chapter was silent. I just thought it was like an artistic decision or whatever. So I guess it's not that big of a deal if people don't realize it initially. Do either of you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would still fit, even if they just think of the fact that she's like, just because she's a slave, she has, she's kind of been effectively forced into silence. So
I actually didn't realize. I didn't clock it till this episode.
Oh.
That's why she doesn't talk. I was like, oh, of course her tongue gets cut out. I remember that panel.
Yeah.
So
I think it's hard to tell, because I'm fairly certain. It's kind of weird though, because I think in the anime when they show shots of like the crowd, I'm almost certain I was like, wait a second, does that guy, have they drawn the tongue into one of the slaves again? But it could have just been an animation thing. It wasn't very obvious. Like, I'm not saying like they were sticking their tongue out or anything. It was just a sort of funny thing where I was looking to see. But then again, you don't really see characters' tongues when they're talking anyway.
Yeah.
Like, that's just not something that Isayama draws much, apart from like zoomed in front view shots.
I guess I can. Hold on, there's 2 points now. I'm struggling which one I should do first. I guess this one's a small point. Reicha did talk about how they added in some things. One of the things they added in that I didn't really like was Ymir pre-ambush by the Eldian clan. because they show her like getting the water in the water bucket, which is a clever motif, which is in her character always. It connects to the Historia imagery and in the Uprising arc and stuff like that. So it was like a good use of that if they were going to do that, having her getting the water from the well. But I like how the chapter starts and it's already like carnage, and you don't even realize it's Ymir until the second page if you scroll down here. Because she's not singled
and the thing
out.
is, it cuts nicely from the like the little picture of Ymir in the picture book to straight to just Ymir in chains. Like it's quite a nice jump.
And an addition I did like was expanding the Frida part at the beginning. Yeah, I like that. We do have to talk about my feminism tweet before. Don't let me forget about that. We probably won't do that right now. I tweeted that we were going to talk about. Yeah, I tweeted that we have to talk about feminism in this chapter because some things clicked for me. I don't think they clicked, but I noticed a few little things. But we will talk about that. I don't want to talk about that quite yet. But don't let the battery die before I give my weird feminism theory here. Before that, I want to talk about position.
One of mine then said that the flashback should have been in black and white, and I'm tempted to agree on that.
I've been saying that for years, but they did do muted colors.
Yeah, like you could tell you could very much tell that it was like a flashback.
They were.
For what they were going for, I think it did work.
They tried to differentiate it. But yeah, I want to talk about positioning real quick. In terms, this portion of Attack on Titan is very interesting in terms of positioning. Because obviously Eren is colored very much as the bad guy in the final tweet, in the final speech rather. But here I think the anime kind of messed up with this part. When Eren is trying to get out of the chains here, it is very overstated, I think, and I think it very much makes you, if you were an anime only, and even I a little bit was like, you're very much positioned to urge for Eren's struggle to get out of the chains. Now, I understand euthanasia is bad and we don't want it, but I feel like positioning so harshly with Eren in this episode specifically can kind of muddle the waters of, I don't know, you're putting people behind Eren again right at the point of the story where we want to stop doing that. I don't know how I felt about that change. This scene went on for a little while.
I think that
I like the violence, but
I think it does. It covers for itself quite well, I think, by moving the Armin and Mikasa. I just blanked on how to say her name. On their little talk there, because like us, I guess if you assume that we're the audience like Armin there, we're thinking, oh yes, Eren has beaten Zeke, he's on our side now, and then Armin makes out the point that, oh crap, he's actually not on our side, and then he has the whole villain speech. So I think it would be obvious enough, and I almost feel like this was, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but this is like the most emotion we've seen out of Eren at the start, and all I could think about was that season 1 Eren just yelling and screaming like a little baby, basically, just like full of that blind, like that rageful determination that he's known for, and is almost, with what we know now, thanks to later on in the manga, it does characterize him that he is the same. He's not the mysterious badass that everybody loves. He is still baby Eren. So I quite liked it.
Driven by almost like helpless rage.
Yeah.
One thing that's what was I going to say? I'm sure I read online that this episode in particular apparently took quite a toll on the voice actor in terms of just the work he had to do for the screaming.
I did not see this,
I'm sure I just read that somewhere online.
Oh wow, okay.
I'm almost just completely out of the
does
Discord,
properly.
so I don't see much.
Because bear in mind, he hasn't really had to properly go for it because Eren's been so muted for like the last 2 seasons now. Well, I say 2 seasons, I mean both parts of season 4. Like, and now he suddenly had to go to absolutely roaring to try and when he's pulling his hands out the chains. So,
yeah,
it's interesting. I am also curious to see how this is gonna affect when we get the flashback, the Island Devils chapter, when they go to Marley. Like, because that's obviously positioned.
Well, it'll be pasted later, but we have cut it out of the beginning of 123. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, because all we get is the beginning of the rumbling in the manga, and then it goes straight to almost an entire chapter dedicated to a flashback like 3 years ago, and then at the very end we get the hear me subjects of Ymir.
But yeah,
which I really liked in the anime, by the way, and there were a few things I liked and I didn't like in the manga. There was a few differences, but like, I'm not sure if you want to talk about it yet. But I'm going to. I'm hijacking this conversation. So there's a few things where, like, if you look at the manga panels, it's quite cool how you've got multiple people like Reiner and Gabby in the same shot and stuff. But in the anime, it wasn't. They just did one shot each, which I made it feel a little empty. But then they showed loads of extra people, which I don't think they did in 123.
Skipping to the end.
Like they showed Historia.
There is one shot of a group of people.
There is one shot, but it's not as clear. Like the anime we got, like the anime, the one I noticed straight away was Shadis is in it in the anime one, reminding us that he's still a character.
Yeah.
Historia is sitting in a chair in the anime too, which she isn't. It's like the assumption was that this pregnant girl was Historia, but this pregnant girl is in the anime, and then Historia is a different, is in a different shot.
Oh right, I didn't actually even clock in the manga that was meant to be Historia.
Well, I guess maybe it wasn't. Right? Maybe it's just
because that shot that looks to me like Marley. That looks to me like the people of Marley, like because they've all got sort of the more modern clothes.
Yeah.
They also show Annie's father, and I also liked how there was Historia like you can see on her face, like with the context we know, she looks like she knows that she's like, oh, I expected this. Like she's the only one not surprised, kind of thing.
Just little stuff like that makes me think that maybe they're going to do a bit more with Historia than Isayama did in the manga.
Which I'm
like, I mean, I feel like I don't think. I mean, I know the meme is that he kind of forgot about his story. I think it was more just he was trying to keep her relevant to the story when she wasn't really that relevant anymore.
I think
like he was kind of done with her, but I think he kept trying to keep her in for.
I think there were easy ways to make her relevant. But I think part of the point with his story is like resolution is that she just kind of has this quiet goodbye with a little farmer dude and her kid. And again, it's obviously the Ymir parallel. Her kid doesn't end up eating her. They sort of circumvent that through Eren's actions. So it's sort of like Historia is one of Eren's friends. He did want to do this for his friends, and Historia ends up with a happy ending. By the way, manga spoilers for all of this. I usually say that at the beginning, but you probably got spoiled on something if you just watching the anime and you were still here. I'll probably put it in the pinned comment or something. We're going to be talking about the ending, especially when I get to my feminism bullshit. So yeah.
So Nate's saying most reactors I've seen were on the side of Eren. Some were very against him. I've only seen a few reactors because like I saw
Name them and shame.
There's only so much time before I went to bed before it came up, and I found that a lot of them were on his side right up until the final line of the episode. Like even when the rumbling started, they were like, "Yeah, they're gonna trust to crush them," and then he says, "Until every person out of our shores has been annihilated." The translation varies depending on what source they're watching it, and then there's kind of this sort of weird stunned silence from them. Yeah. Because they were cheering on Eren right up until that moment, right up until that final line. And then it's kind of like, wait, what?
Yeah. That transformation sequence was fantastic.
Yes, I did like it too. The way they did the walls cracking is very good. Yeah.
And the extended shot of Eren's Titan appearing and all that, that was pretty cool. And even the centipede, because the centipede, that's a single panel as well. And that's one of the things I think got censored. There's no blood in the anime for that scene when the centipede appears and connects Eren's head to his body. Which I'm kind of glad they did extend that, because when I first watched that, read that, I think I just assumed that his like spine had regrown. Even though it looks nothing like a spine.
Yeah, it seems like he like the spine it jumped out of his spine or something. But yeah, I understand what you mean. Did we want to continue on that point?
Like the little bloody scene just isn't there anymore.
Yes, I just got to it. Yeah,
that sort of arcing shot of it coming out, animating around, which is cool.
Yeah, I think I do.
There was a shot I think when.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say there was a bit of the design that I really liked when I can't remember if it was in the manga as well. Let me just scroll up to see where Ymir's falling into the water and you get that very distant shot of the centipede just glowing at the bottom of the darkness of the water. I thought the anime panel was my phone
back lock screen for a little while. So yeah, it is. Oh, I guess it isn't that distant in the manga. It just kind of appears right behind.
Yeah, like in the anime, there's a bit where it's way deeper down. It's almost like a little glow, just a glow at the bottom. I thought that was
so
incredible.
Sick. Actually, that was really cool. It's kind of like you initially like. I wonder what it'd be like if I hadn't read the manga, but like you see all the bubbles disappearing, and you're like, oh, is that a bubble at the bottom, or no, it's like something, and then it just kind of like weaves into frame.
I think that's just
also another thing.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say another thing that I think is actually an anime original. One framing I really liked was when Ymir got impaled by the spear. It shows the face of the chief of the king, which I didn't actually realize was the guy kissing at the stuff. But yeah, then it shows him shocked, and you think, oh, he's dead, and then her hair comes over the front, like of it, and I thought that was like a really cool shot. Yeah, very very smart.
Just back... There was also something I thought that was.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say there's also something that I thought was kind of interesting with the guy through. It was a very minor thing, but it's kind of like the guy threw the spear, and then there's a few panels later we saw everyone getting killed. But in the anime, the guards were so quick trying to kill him. I was like, that's like a natural. That was like a natural reaction to how that. Yeah, it was just a really cool thing. Like he threw it and then immediately died. Like he barely let go of the spear when like there were 3 spears impaling him through the neck. That was great because there's always like in media there's always that dramatic moment where he gets to throw it and then you get like the sort of the multiple reaction shots before finally he gets killed, which is what we got in the manga because we only see him dying because we're watching it then from Fritz's perspective.
That actually goes on the point I was going to make about the Historia sinking scene, where it's kind of just a natural extension of the fact that anime as a medium is in motion, so you can sort of draw it sneaking up. And just like this scene we were just talking about with the spear, in manga it's like a frozen thing in time, so you sort of like register on the spear throw for a little while. This is people complain in Naruto all the time that characters are just standing around when like they should be doing something, but it's clearly just like in the anime they decided to adapt a panel and they just have the character's mouth move while the panel is on screen, just widescreen and in color. So it loses some kinetic, like the manga is obviously less kinetic, and so just the speed of him getting stabbed immediately or the slow long shot of the creature coming up. I think sometimes motion is okay, guys, I guess is what I'm trying to say here. Are we building off this, or should I do my feminism spiel?
I mean, you can do the feminism, or we can also talk about some we've already talked a little bit about censorship. We can talk
about
I
do want to hear about
the big censorship from this episode. So if you look at the image of Ymir's daughters eating her body, we didn't get anything near as visceral.
We did get the chop, which was like, I remember last time I think you and I
got the chop,
where I was like, the chop is kind of the most visceral part for me. So I think I checked out as soon as I saw the chop. I'm like, oh cool. But yes, I don't remember anything nearly this visceral.
Yeah, the actual shot, like I think you see the outline of like her body and maybe like some slight outlines of like her ribcage, but you don't see like just like. I mean, you see a bit of a heavy. You don't see like I don't think you saw like a random like leg and a hand, bloody hand just sat on the table. It's definitely a lot more muted in the anime, and you know what? It's a compromise considering some of the things they didn't censor prior to this.
I'm still happy with censorship.
I'm fine with it. It was just it was just an interesting thing. Like, there's only so much you can do, and I think showing children literally just depicting uncensored children eating the
mother's corpse
of them.
You know, guys, it's a little fucked up.
That's pretty grim.
It's a little fucked up.
Anime onlys when they realize they've seen this before in the season 2 ED.
Yeah, what a time to be alive. The season 2 ED was, but on another meme point, there is a meme in chat sometimes that I simp for the king and say that he's actually not that bad of a bloke, which is not true. But the anime was definitely not sniffing my hopium on this account. I talk about the scene where he's looking down at her dying and how maybe he could come off as somewhat remorseful. In the anime, they said, fuck no. He was looking down at her and he's like, you can't die, you suck, get up. I don't know if it's just me being delusional. I feel like we didn't get any of these shots if anybody's looking on my screen, of him like in shock at her death. It was kind of quick. So I don't know if you would constitute this as just a change or just them not doing what I perceive.
I mean, there was that shock, but at the same time, straight after when he's doing the rise, what are you doing, rise? I know near me a spear can kill you. I mean, that's I mean, I think that's fine, making him this disgusting, cantankerous, horrible old man. I'm
Which he also is in the manga.
I know you're on the. Sorry.
Which he also is in the manga, right? I'm not saying.
I know you're on the hopium, but I was like, no, I like that Fritz is just this irredeemable piece of shit.
So how does she die? Yeah, actually, this is one thing I'm thinking. How does the spear actually kill her?
Well, they say
I thought you had to be decapitated.
Hold on, what were you going to say, Bacon? I thought you.
I
were
thought
saying
you had to be
something,
decapitated to die as a Titan.
well,
but
no,
I
you just have to
see
have
what
the
you're saying.
will to live. This is said. Falco,
I see.
after Reiner transforms, there's this moment where Falco is like, "Oh, you can only come back if you have the will to live." And he was scared that Reiner might not after Eren transforms in chapter 100, which is on top of Willy Tiber, that whole thing. There's like a shot of Reiner.
There's also as well, I saw an interesting thing about like obviously
anymore,
the big sort of meme, the big meme about Titan Shifters is obviously like how Reiner survives like fucking everything in season 3.
Yeah.
I saw like an interesting TikTok video analyzing how perhaps being the armored Titan isn't just an outer defense, but it's also like an inner defense as well, which is how he's able to survive such horrible injuries like that. Like the transferring of consciousness, which like at the time definitely sounded like an ass pull when it happened.
Yeah.
But it's actually just another part of the armored Titan. He's armored inside and out is the theory, the truly defensive Titan. Because as we see, the armor itself isn't
very
great.
Durable,
the Jaw Titan can destroy the armor. Yeah.
So
like again, these names are just colloquial names that have been come up with that Marley and that have come up with. I mean, they're so colloquial that Parody managed to come up with the exact same names for the armor and Colossal Titan.
without
having any prior communication.
So the implication is then Ymir just wanted to leave, so this is like her first time disobeying her master in a way, right?
Yeah, because it's supposed to.
But then she just turns out to be a slave anyway.
It's supposed to lead into the Eren moment of like, you've already sort of give in to me, and let's destroy this shit. I
see.
What was the feminism point? Are we ready for this, or do we have something else to say?
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Let's hear your take.
Don't get us cancelled. I have nothing.
Yeah, I want to keep streaming.
It's a very
I distance myself
pro-feminism
from
thing.
anything Mr. Entertainment says.
I used to have this.
That's good.
I used to have a funny talking point that Minty used to get mad at a lot, where I said, actually, Attack on Titan might be anti-American and anti-fascistic very blatantly, because I was going with the meme that Marley just wanted to create wars to get resources, so they were basically the American analogous in the analogy, and that Marley was America and America was bad. This is probably not true. That was just a meme I used to throw out. But this is similar on those grounds, that Attack on Titan is secretly not anti-American entirely. It is secretly feminist. Because if we look at the beginning of this, and it's expanded upon in the episode. Still with me, guys? You didn't hang up?
Mm-hmm. I'm still with you. I'm
the
here.
anti-American thing. I mean, there was a TikTok about that, about how like Marley was like America, the Eldians on Marley were like the Japanese in internment camps during World War II, and then Parody is Japan. That's deliberately decided to forget its history.
Man.
Yeah,
it's basically a way of analyzing Attack on Titan from a completely non-Eurocentric viewpoint. It was really interesting.
Interesting.
Never mind. I don't want to. I want to get back on the point before I forget it. Wait, did I forget it? No, I can't have forgotten it. All right, feminism. So Attack on Titan is secretly feminist. I've talked about this a little bit. Attack on Titan, never sexualizes its female characters. That was like a big thing in 2013 when it first came out. People would talk about that a lot. Basically, men and women have equal opportunity. Nobody bats an eye that Historia is going to lead them as queen, or Hanji is going to be the leader, though Hanji is more gender ambiguous than most people give her credit for. But a lot of sexism isn't a theme really at all in Attack on Titan. But then I got thinking, I see this intro to 122. The first page is what it means to be girlish, it says on my translation here, but ladylike is what we use. In the anime, and this scene is expanded upon in the anime, and obviously this scene also happened back in the Uprising arc with Frida. This idea, another very powerful woman in Attack on Titan, but the idea that I started hitting on watching this episode is that, because this goes back into another thing I've been saying for like a year and a half that might be wrong in a certain sense, but I might have figured out how it could kind of be right. I always talked about how Ymir was ultimately selfless, which is not really, and I always admitted that wasn't the correct word, where she just sort of served the King Fritz to, like, at the sacrifice of everything she would want personally. I think this was actually, it kind of played up a little bit to my liking in the episode. This is just a little point attached to this, about how it's very clear that, like, the girls that are dressing the king, like, he's sleeping with other women as well. So it's not even like he's a potentially good husband, besides probably being a rapist. And Ymir's like just dealing with that, even though she has the power to, if she wanted to be a spiteful lover, kill these other women. And like, what's the king gonna do? Obviously, she has literal power over him, but still serves him. So my idea is basically what traditionally in most societies is the role for women. It is subservience to like their husband or a man or their father or whatever. So I think what my weird idea here, now I'm not standing by this or anything, it's just a weird connection that could be expanded upon with some bigger brains. So we have subservience here, and like this is the traditional role. So Frida is trying to impart this traditional role onto his story here, about how you should be more ladylike, like Ymir, who we find out in this chapter was very subservient to her husband. Now, a lot of people say it's just Stockholm Syndrome. I think it might tie into more of a Zeke character thing of looking for purpose, and she has purpose serving the nation or her husband or the king or whatever, and that's why she might do what she does and why she doesn't just take this shit over. Fuck, I got distracted for a second and then I lost my train of thought. And Zeke obviously has the big conversation with Armin about what your purpose is in life and seeking purpose, and his purpose was euthanasia, but now that's gone, and Armin kind of gives him the experiences of what matter, purpose isn't inherent or whatever. So sort of she's searching for a purpose kind of like Zeke, and she finds it here, even though that purpose destroys her basically, and is not good for her at all. And we see those frustrations let out at the end of this chapter when she decides to just go full fuck it, everybody dies. But to tie into the feminism thing actually ties into the very end of the story, because the end of the story, as we find out, is kind of Mikasa deciding to get over this similar role that she wishes to play with Eren by finally killing him, and we know Mikasa's decision is what sets Ymir free in the end. So I think you could read it through this lens of like, it is kind of women overcoming sort of this traditional role, and men more generally might be kind of part of the point here. This isn't as fleshed out as I would like it to be. This is just sort of something that clicked today. But it was like, here, Ymir is traditional, and then at the end, she like lashes out against that, and then eventually, through Mikasa also lashing out in a more successful manner, she is made free of King Fritz's love or whatever. And that sort of ties into the ladylike thing that Frida says. Frida is bad because she didn't seek to overcome this. Historia did kind of overcome this. Not exactly a traditional woman with her girlfriend. But I think that's kind of what I was trying to say. Am I crazy?
She also overcomes her father, correct? So
yes, that is true, I guess.
I think I get what you're saying, because I think if we look through that interpretation, it might explain why perhaps the awkwardness of Eren trying to explain to Armin that it was love, I guess, kind of ties into that. Like
because love is coded bad in Attack on Titan sometimes. Which is cute.
Maybe Isayama just, again, I maintain that he didn't really have the words to say what he wanted to say in the ending. Like, he just couldn't. Should have just had a few more chapters, really. But yeah. Time
can help a lot of things. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I'm kind of, I guess I haven't like gone rereads and thought a lot about this, but I guess I wouldn't say it's Stockholm Syndrome, but it's also like, in a sense, that Ymir doesn't know anything else. She doesn't know anything but the cage she's in, which, you know, like, I guess Eren or like Mikasa, because Mikasa is similar in the fact that she never really wanted to go outside the wall. She doesn't know
but she has all
what
this
it's
power,
like outside the wall.
Like Ymir, like she's very powerful.
Yes. But it's Eren that really wants to go outside the walls, and that's why she would ever want to go outside the walls, because Eren wants to. And so, I mean, I'd have to do more reading what Stockholm Syndrome and all the like the intricacies of it and whatnot. I think it's one of those buzzwords where people may just throw out, and when actually, you know, the actual mental health illness.
I think it's a much more severe indication of like an incredibly toxic relationship. Like, I don't think you'd call, like, you know, other people who are in toxic relationships suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. You'd say that they're trapped in a very, very toxic relationship.
The key difference, I think, in this example, and I agree mostly with what you're saying, but the big, like, the thing you have to explain is why she just doesn't kill everybody, because she has so much more power in the physical sense, whereas women, when they're in toxic situations, usually they're probably weaker than the dude or whatever. But usually they could just leave anyway, and it's a lot of mental manipulation. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that's meant to be I imagine that's possibly what he was trying to get at, but I think it is a lot more difficult to convey that when
it's such a toxic relationship.
Is such toxic, but also when Ymir does literally possess godlike powers. It's such an unbelievable difference that your chat's arguing, by the way, Kyle, with each other.
It is.
Well, never mind then. Then you're instigating things. Wouldn't have it any other way. But fuck. I can't remember.
Let's get him in here.
Yeah. I guess we should probably move off of this into more directly anything, scrolling through the chapter, anything they changed or any other little things we want to talk about in terms of adaptation. The kiss, I remember last week Mr. R brought up that they should focus on the kiss more. I don't think they necessarily focused on it more, but I feel like it got the job done. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I didn't. I didn't actually clock that was the chief that was kissing there as well. So it's just one of those things where, like,
is it?
Yeah, he's. Yeah, no, it is.
I'm not sure. I was never sure if it was because he keeps changing outfits as he gets more powerful. Oh, in the anime, okay.
In the anime, it seems more because his hair stays the same and he's got the same bit. He looks very much the same. So, it at least that's how I read it this time. I mean, maybe go back and watch it, but
maybe all these fellas look the same, huh?
I guess maybe it would. I guess that would fit then if Ymir was looking at that because when he I don't know. It's.
I guess the implication then would be that like he killed this wife or he got rid of her or whatever, or maybe he's polyamorous. I'm not sure.
I'd say he probably has multiple, and maybe he
never
likes
says
this
he
wife
marries Ymir, right? He just says he'll give her.
He doesn't.
Just bears his seed.
Yes.
Oh, God, that
what a terrible.
Just shivers down my spine. Oh, that was disgusting.
The thing is, I'm internally triggered by it as well because George R. Martin uses that term a lot in the Song of Ice and Fire books.
Does. Even I'm like 20 chapters in and he's used it multiple times. Seed. Ugh.
Always in the Daenerys chapters as well.
Yeah, it is. With another little girl. Ugh. But anyway, the kiss, I guess, I think it was pretty good.
There goes me reading any books for the next year.
Well, never mind then. Ymir isn't trapped, though. She could have ended 2,000 years of genocide and pain at any point, yet chooses not to. I mean, I'd argue that she's like emotionally trapped, mentally trapped. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, I think.
And she needed... I think thematically that's where it was meant to be going.
Yeah. Oh, something I was going to say earlier, but I kind of forgot, which I guess is kind of relevant now that we've read out Well Never Mind then. I think clearly the conceit, like the idea that Isayama had for Ymir originally was like the god that has like it's kind of, I don't know if juxtaposition is the right word, but the twist is that she has all this power and it's kind of built up. We're all excited to meet Ymir eventually in the manga. Is she going to be this super awesome fighter and Eren's going to have to fight her in the final battle or something? This might be something we thought like at chapter 70, but she has no...
That point,
yeah.
Because up until that point, it was like all we knew about Ymir was the girl who made a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
Like you'd imagine something so much different than
like
this
fierce,
this little slave child. Like you think of people who made deals with the devil. Someone you think like sort of your Dracula kind of characters. You're big, sort of imposing, powerful. The kind of person who could have the courage to make a deal with the devil.
But the devil turns out to be...
But she doesn't make the deal. The devil just... And I think what's interesting is that actually, now you say the devil, like, she's stuck in paths, and so she's stuck in this purgatory, this hell, if you will, working and suffering, and... So it's this kind of... I mean, this is kind of imposing maybe a Western view of what paths may be, but it is like a very much like... It's ironic that a goddess is stuck in hell, and the most powerful being is the most enslaved.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what you're trying to get out, Kyle, where it's like there's a complete like a contrast, juxtaposition, whatever you want to call it, of just like the most powerful, most idolized, most worshipped being the one that's actually the most enslaved and trapped, which in Attack on Titan, freedom is a massive motif. So
yes,
I think as well something else as well, the stuck in paths, like obviously she waited 2,000 years, but that must have felt like an eternity because you saw how fucked up fucked up Eren got after like a couple of days in paths. Like, because when he said that he truly unlocked the Founder's power, he then perceived all of time simultaneously.
Oh, yeah.
And he just completely...
No. When
Eren,
he kissed her hand.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Okay.
No, well, Eren, I mean, Eren after Eren becomes the founding titan. So after this,
course.
like, you know, we see him. After he's done his big speech.
Oh, yes.
We then see that the real Eren has this perpetually almost saddened, blank expression on his face, and he says that his head's been completely messed up by the power of the Founder because he's basically perceived all of time simultaneously, and it's completely just ruined him. So imagine that. But he was dealing with that for a couple of days. Ymir was dealing with that feeling for 2,000 years.
Yes.
And Zeke says it feels like an eternity, but also feels like it's over in an instant. So it's very much like time is not a thing there, and it's just, I mean, it is like some sort of eternal afterlife where it's like some purgatory or something.
The word I was looking for was contradiction, and obviously the time being forever and also in one instant is another like contradiction. Of Ymir being like the goddess with sort of no power in this regard is like the contradiction.
I've scrolled down through one of the panels again. It's reminded me of something I thought really cool that the anime focused on a little bit more. So again, it's going back to like how the anime expanded the Ymir when she first goes to Paths and is building the Titans, but it's the actual Paths itself when her daughters eat her body.
Yes,
we see very clearly that from that three branches come from the coordinate. Just the three.
They do that in the manga too. It's
just
less stated.
But it's all done in a single panel.
Yes,
I've got it up. It's all done in a single panel. There's the three branches and then mini branches from those, which is showing how it works. But I think the anime did a really good job of
she like slowly turns,
showing it much clearer. I thought that was a really cool little moment.
Yeah. I did like that moment a lot. Do we want to talk about anything particularly about the tree? I think the tree was a little understated. They chose to just do a top-down shot and like sort of like slowly pan down it. I kind of like in the manga that it's just kind of all there and big. I guess if I think about like my issues or whatever with the chapter, I guess it comes a lot down to the chase bit. Generally,
I knew you would have an issue. Yeah. I knew that it was like, oh, Kyle's not gonna like this, or Kyle's gonna.
Don't complain about it.
Have feelings about this, but yeah, I get what you mean. I felt going into the tree felt like quite a lengthy thing.
Because it seems like she just steps into it and she falls down in the manga, but in the anime it's like a bit of a cave. Just really quickly, I never noticed that like they take one of her eyes out, because if you even look in the manga, like she's bleeding from one of her eyes, and they say earlier like either you all lose an eye or somebody confesses to it, and they took out Ymir's eye because you can see she's all bleeding from it. It was a little weird. I think the manga does. I talked about this last week. Again, I was like, oh no, we're going to get a whole episode of the gross shaded eyes that looks really bad in the anime. It was fine, but when she was like crying over her shaded eye, it looked very still in the anime. I thought that looked pretty bad. I think they do a better job in the manga of like just having it be darkened out. Again, that's a. I
mean, at the same. Which bit? Sorry, of the bit where she cries, or.
Oh, I think I had it up on my screen here, but I think this shot in the anime, if you got mine up, but like right as she falls after getting like the arrow in the leg, there's like a shot and she kind of like looks up, and it looks like the eyes shouldn't be in the anime. They shouldn't be like shaded out. You should be able to see them. And then she would cry over it, and it looked kind of still, and I didn't like this shot.
Oh right, yeah, I don't remember that specific. Yeah. I don't actually remember.
It's only a small
remember
shot.
That specific bit, so I don't have any feelings of it. Speaking of the crying thing, the bit where they showed her eyes, I was really, I'm glad that I felt they did that scene. That they did that scene a lot of justice. Like that was a moment for again some of the reactions I saw where that scene. The anime watchers, but had a big reaction to that.
It's like
one of the
go ahead.
One of the best panels in AOT.
Yes. The whole build-up of the chapter
despite
is that,
being so simple.
Yeah, is that her eyes she's lost. Her eyes are gone, and then she has sort of this no emotion, and then we get to and it's just a little girl crying, and it's like, whoa. Also, really quick. The one thing, they did a one stream cry for Ymir. They did it. It wasn't 2 streams. I didn't want to not point that out, but go ahead, Mr. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I felt like just things like the little sort of like the lip quiver that she had in the animated. It just really worked. Like
It was very good.
I loved that shot.
To take us back a little bit, I'm not sure if we talked about earlier, but they cut a few things from Eren, and I saw a few people on Twitter complaining that
what they cut.
They had Eren and Zeke kind of talking over each other rather than talking in turn like it is in the manga. So it didn't feel quite as climactic as it feels when you're reading in the manga. That's what I heard, and I did feel that. I didn't feel like something in my bones when they were arguing, and I was trying to concentrate on the two different subtitle streams. And I'm just like, man, I wish I could watch this dubbed. Oh my word. Dubbed is better than subbed. I'll say it right now.
Something that was interesting about that was their decision to not have any music during a lot of that until it goes silent.
Yeah.
I was originally unsure because one of the problems with that is that like the one thing Mappa seemed to have trouble with is animating a character running.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like Zeke running like a fucking idiot while screaming in complete silence, and that came across just a little bit
goofy,
janky.
Yeah.
But when the music did happen and we got that new rumbling theme, because that was a new bit of the OST, wasn't it?
I'm the worst to ask about music, so.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I noticed a load of things I really loved with OST. Like they used a few like bagpipes and some interesting, I think particularly this episode, so an interesting flute or like woodwind instrument, which I couldn't pinpoint. But I was like, man, this is like, compared to Sawano's tracks. It's a Hiroyuki Sawano. I think that's the guy who did the first three seasons, the composer. The very famous, big bombastic one. Like it's almost a bit more. It's weirdly more fitting, and I like the transition of how they've. I'm not sure who the new composer is, but I really quite enjoy like the music just in general for the anime so far. It's been really fantastic. Probably my favorite part, actually.
Yeah, because a lot of people memed on last season for having the same track over and over, and I think they've done a pretty good job at differentiating.
But I mean, also those same people memeing were saying they should use UC Big Girl for every fucking moment in the
And then it turned into a meme itself. Oh, gotta love the cycle.
Really quick, just to point something out, this is in the manga too, but the ending part where Eren does make the like emotional plea to Ymir, whereas Zeke, who is of royal blood, and even in this one panel I have up, he's like shot just like his ancestor with just the mouth and the beard, and he's like demanding on her. He's like more of the same is basically what Zeke is becoming here, of like, do as I say, you're still just a tool. And Eren obviously says, you're not a tool, you're not a god, you're just a person. What a chapter, all in all. What a chapter. Pretty good episode too.
I mean, how I'm not sure if but I guess in light of the last chapter, like Eren is, I guess in this situation, being the good guy. Don't cancel me, please. Because in a way, because like he's the one being understanding of Ymir and actually. I wonder if he's noticing that he's being like very manipulative, or if he's actually genuinely being like, yes, we need freedom, and maybe that's why she has an attachment to him. So when like Mikasa shows or something, I don't know.
There was a meme at the time when this chapter came out, because a lot of fan art of like Ymir and Eren were made, not of the bad kind, but just of them like hanging out and being cute together as like oh, they're such good friends. And I remember I think it was me and Minty, because Miller wouldn't have been reading back then. We used to always joke that like Lamau, he just manipulated her, and you're all making like cute fan art. I don't think it's either of those extremes, really. I think Eren... I actually think this goes into another larger point of the entire series about the sort of interpersonal bonds being more important than the larger thematic conflict. I talked about this a lot when I would talk about the last chapter, about how the last chapter isn't really about the bigger overarching conflict. It's about... Well, the second last chapter is all about Eren and Mikas's relationship, and then the last chapter is all about Armin and Eren's relationship. More so, and I feel like people wanted more so for the ending to focus on the larger conflict, but I think part of the point of Attack on Titan is that's sort of not what's important. It's about like being nice to each other and understanding your friends in the end. Understanding. If only somebody made a video about that. But I think that's part, because again with positioning, like Eren is the bad guy here, but at the end you can't help but like root for him, as he... Even if Ymir's realization here is literally to kill everybody, it's very bad. It's sort of like you're positioned throughout this chapter and this episode, obviously, to be on Ymir's side and sympathize with her. And same with Eren with the beginning, with the chains and stuff. And Zeke here, who has the more moral option, I guess. They're both genocidal. Zeke just wants to do it peacefully.
Miller
like
is saying
he
something
is,
in chat,
he is
which
colored,
I'm trying to understand, but it's not going in my brain.
Hold on, I'll read it in a second.
Not sure.
But yeah, so Zeke falling back into, even if you might be more on his side, like the King Fritz way of talking to Ymir. You're sort of like, fuck him, go with Eren, go with Eren. And obviously the emotional release of the cry page and her finally seeing her eyes. Yeah. But again, and I think it works a little bit better in the manga because it ends on this chapter, and then the next chapter is when Eren has the last panel where he decides to kill it. Well, doesn't decide, but it announces that he's going to kill everybody, so it sort of differentiates them. But Mr. R or Bacon?
I was just going to say, like, could it be as well an interpretation of the crying could be because presumably Ymir has been waiting all this time to be set free. Like, if Eren can see all of time when he gets the power, then presumably Ymir can as well. So could the crying as also be interpreted as she's crying because
it's finally
she's now finally there? Yeah. It's finally getting to that point. She doesn't have to wait that much longer now. The moment she's been waiting for to sort of finally enact her final plan, I guess, to get free, or finally the moment of history she's been waiting for all this time is finally upon her. There could also be that as well.
I read it more
it's
as
also what she has to do to get free as well. So she'd be crying because she knows what's happening in the future, and the tears are more just an outburst of the emotion that she's just stored for the last 2,000 years.
Yeah, 2,000 years of pent up emotion.
I think it's
such a good panel. Though.
I think that what you guys are talking about is more of a subconscious thing of like maybe like she knew this would happen all along, but it's kind of a subconscious thing. I definitely think explicitly in the chapter it's supposed to be somebody finally like took a moment to be like to talk to her almost and be like, this is about you, rather than her always basically being about everybody else. But it could be anything.
Yeah, there is that as well. There's so many different ways to look at it. Yeah. It's great.
Layers,
it's lovely.
Depth, maybe.
Nice. Sorry?
I said layers, depth, maybe, but I was just adding to your point. What was Miller saying?
Hold
on, go ahead, Mr. R.
You have to scroll to the chat to see it.
Oh, I thought you were going to read it out for us, Bacon.
Oh, no. Now I'm going to be the one that can't read.
Oh, yeah. Time for payback. No, Bacon never made fun of my reading.
Just I'm having to find my...
All the silent chatters did.
Eren treating Ymir right, and Zeke treating her... Oh, yes, right. Eren treating Ymir right, and Zeke treating her like he is the king here. Doesn't really work as well now that we know that she is still a slave. This moment is more complicated now, which I think lessens the impact and the emotion of it.
Like, she's still a... What do we mean slave? Like, because of the meekest thing is what frees her. I think it's just like a step on the journey of becoming more free. I don't think... I actually nearly made this point earlier about how things in Attack on Titan seem to happen in steps. Because I remember actually thinking that after Zeke's moment with Grisha, he should like be very motivated and have this mindset of finally living up to like what his father wants. His father said he loved him and to stop Eren. But the next time we see Zeke, he's actually very downtrodden building the sandcastle, and Armin has to tell him like, no, we can go, we can still do something. I think Attack on Titan does that a lot, actually, where it's like little pieces, like characters will kind of have somewhat of a breakthrough moment, but it doesn't happen immediately. And I'll use the deadly word. I kind of think it is a more realistic representation of growth rather than big character moment. Now the character arc is completed and the change is done. I think it's more sort of segmented in that fashion, but...
The one thing, though, that Miller's brought up is giving me this sort of funny image, because obviously the characters are still transforming into Titans, so whilst the Battle of Heaven and Earth is going on, Ymir has to keep dipping out to build Titan bodies for everyone. She can't just sit and watch.
Well, I guess that's what
they're all created beforehand. She's going to make a series on how to make Titan bodies in 20 minutes, but it's actually just like she's pre-prepared everything, and it's actually rigged, because it'll take you an hour. I can't believe it.
She's still got an eternity she wants or whatever.
I do love, like seeing her build them like that. I do love that is like, you know, that is basically like the justification for why all the Titans just look really weird, because they're built by this.
Yeah. I always denied it. I always said that no, that was just metaphorical, but I guess it's a real thing.
No artistic consistency here. Ymir, awful. Can't believe it.
Yeah. Should we talk more about the speech? We kind of talked about how I really like Eren's voice in it. I don't know, they use some sort of a filter or device. There was like a little bit of an echo. I really liked it. I don't know if they really captured how loud the rumbling is. I think the manga panels of just having the sound effect pages clutter everything was I kind of like that more. They didn't really.
I think that was brought up earlier in chat as well.
Yeah,
I think that was brought up earlier in your chat, but I feel like that would have just become impossible in something where there is actually audio. It would have just been horrible. Like, I think as a viewing experience. So I understand it's one of those things where the medium can really affect how you depict certain things.
Could they have had like a muffle sound effect? You know, like after a flashbang normally goes off, they could have had maybe something like that. I imagine they could have probably done something, but yeah, as you say, like I'm just looking at those manga panels again. I'm just like, with all those, it creates the feeling so effectively. Actually, that's really cool. I completely forgot about that. So it was a bit memey when she's like, "Oh, I can't hear you, but you can hear them perfectly fine."
One thing that is one thing I thought was interesting was their decision to just literally use the manga page for Eren's face.
Yeah, it's a little
TV
different.
Static over it. I mean, they obviously redrew it. Like, they didn't just copy paste.
There are also more like artistic differences. I do think this panel looks very Devilman, and I can like the cheekbones remind me of Devilman. In the anime version, firstly they have his green eyes, which I think there might be something more to the fucking green eyes thing, because that's in a lot of anime things, and obviously in the manga's eyes aren't green.
I don't know if they ever really. I think there were original plans to go with that, because I think the character's eye color is quite significant in the manga, even though you never see it. Yeah. It's why it's never verbally brought up. But I think if the manga was in color, there'd be a lot. Isayama would put a lot of special thought into each of the different.
So the Founders Titans changed. I'm blanking on Papa's name of Eren and Zeke. What's his name? Grisha. So his eyes were green until he got the Founding Titan, and they turned purple. So there could be something here, like Eren's eyes are still green because he's in control of the Founding Titan or something.
There is
like
the
that.
shot at the beginning of the episode.
There was...
Yes, Mr. Bacon. How perceptive.
Thank you. This is why you pay me the big bucks.
I thought the fight between Grisha and Frida was pretty cool.
It was. Hold on. All right, I gotta piss. You guys, I don't have to leave chat doing nothing. So you two, if I don't respond for the next minute and 30 seconds, all right, talk amongst yourselves. All right.
Okay. He should have just done it without us.
What if you said like, Kyle, what do you think about this? And it's just muted, right? You need to know about my pissing cycle, and I don't want to hear any fucking complaints. Neither from you, chat. All right, continue. Go ahead.
So Bacon, that Demon Slayer episode.
Yeah, Demon Slayer was very good. Yeah, let's just talk about Demon Slayer.
You can't do anything to stop us.
No, you can't do it.
Yeah, no, I loved it.
It's insane. I feel like it's going too fast for my brain to process the animation. I'm like, there's such a delicious meal, and I'm eating it too quickly, and I'm annoyed at myself.
It looked better. Like, I went to see Mugen Train in the theater. Like, the cinema budget, the cinema budget film, and yet that fucking episode looked better than it. It was madness how good it looked.
It was incredible. I'm not sure if I'd say it looked better, but it both was like just so good that like it was. I mean, it does do what I really dislike about shonen. Like, this is like the one thing I never get over with Hunter x Hunter and a few things. When Anusuke comes back, it's like, oh, I moved my. But like, at this point, I'm just laughing.
The thing is, though, that was kind of set up a little bit, like all the sort of shit, because like all the previous episodes, like there's the episode where he like shows that he's really good at contorting his body. Like they've shown that a couple of times now. They even did it in season 2 as a reminder. So. Like, it's there.
It's believable enough, and it's one of those things where I'm just like, oh, this is kind of like an anime thing, and I'll just chuckle at it. But it does take me out a little bit where I'm just like, oh, okay. But like, honestly, like the ending there when it just explodes, and I'm just like, what? Like they end on just the destruction end credits. I'm just like, ooh, I'm feeling a bit heavy now. Let's we need to.
Yeah, no, that was one hell of a way to end it. But it was one of those things where it was very shonen. But like, I mean, I've always maintained that Demon Slayer, what it is, it's all the sort of it's all the tropes of shonen done right. Hello, Kyle.
Hey, Kyle.
I looked at chat and I saw Miller saying, "I love how Demon Slayer names self," and I'm like, "There's no way." And yet you betrayed me like this. I guess I should let you finish your point. And then
I wasn't really gonna. I was going to say it just fucking popped. You need to fucking watch it. Next season, we're doing this for Demon Slayer. Season 3 comes out, and you're getting involved, Kyle.
Kyle, I'll say this right now, right?
I'm 14. I'm a 14-month subscriber. You have to do this.
Oh yeah,
he's not lying.
I'm making your thumbnails, mate. I'm making your thumbnails, but you are paying me, so we're gonna blackmail Kyle into doing this. I will say the first season is well, at least when I was watching it weekly, I did notice like I wasn't as engaged because it was a little bit slower. But once you get to the movie
you don't have to say it's not that good.
And the seconds, well, I mean, it just goes. I mean, there's cross-dressing. It's amazing.
I binged Demon Slayer the first season purely because my sister messaged me going, "Hey, do you want to go see the Demon Slayer movie in theaters?" And I was like, "Okay, yeah." And then it's like, "Okay, so we'll go see the film in 5 days." I have 5 days to watch like all 20-something episodes.
Yeah. No, that's a great way to get into it as well. Yeah. I mean, it was probably my favorite anime cinema experience. No, I've seen a ton.
I had my issues at the start. I didn't like that there were two comic relief characters among the trio, but they have sort of evened it out to make it work a bit better.
And there was a lot of crying, which is good and bad. But when the crow was crying at the end, I just burst out laughing. I thought it was so funny.
My sister was in tears at the cinema when we saw Moving Train.
Oh, well. I wasn't, but it was definitely a very worthwhile cinema experience. Demon Slayer,
I really enjoyed it.
Get this Attack on Titan nonsense out of here. Demon Slayer now. Shonen is better than seinen.
Well, Attack on Titan's a shonen, Bacon, didn't you hear?
Oh, is it? I guess it is for shonen babies.
Yeah. And if there's one thing we hate around here, it's shonen, alright? We don't like that stuff. But
I hate it. I hate
garbage
young boys.
Content.
Do we have anything else to say about the actual thingy here? Well, I guess we haven't done our next time talk, so we can do that. Apparently
next time. I mean,
the Mikasa stuff isn't going to be next episode, so say the leaks. It's like a few episodes down the track or something.
Yeah, I feel like having it straight away probably would have been. They're gonna have to make it tie into a different scene because the whole thing was Mikasa going like, "Had I made a different choice, what would have happened?" So, and the way it looks like it's gonna be. Well, I mean, it looks like it's going to be from the preview. Yeah, it's called Thor, which is the name of the 120. Yeah, which is the name of the chapter. Now. The chapter 124.
Oh, there's Annie's dad. I see. Yeah. Okay, I'd seen.
And it showed us the scene of Gab. I think it's gonna. It showed. I'm pretty sure the preview showed us like Gabby and Kaya.
Scene. Or this is literally Miller's the only part of Attack on Titan he likes is the Kaya Gabby stuff. So it seems like it'll be a very Gabby. The Connie stuff. I like the Connie stuff a lot.
We get the Gabby mirror image. Oh, let's go.
The Sasha. Oh,
we're gonna get. I wonder if we're gonna get a bit more of the Pixis stuff because there's not much of it. And I mean, it's like two panels in the manga of
I
just
like
Armin Zeke recognizing him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wonder if they'll extend it a little bit, make it a bit more dramatic.
Did we ever find out who the Shadow Man was in the background of
it was Shardis.
Big meme about. Oh, it was Shardis. Okay. Cool.
But Annie's next episode, I didn't realize that, but yeah.
I reckon so, yeah.
I will say, just to bring us back, because I completely forgot, because I didn't actually comment on the whole Eren big page thing of the Devil Man. When I saw it, I was like, man, I could have made this. That's what I was thinking. Just put a grain filter over it. That was probably the only thing I didn't like.
Really?
About the chapter, but then I probably about the episode. But then I probably also. Then I was like thinking, it's like, well, it kind of looked like a TV, like everybody was watching on like a TV, like this guy's broadcasting. I guess it's kind of broadcasty. I don't know. Anyway, I'd like it more if it was animated, but animating all those lines would have been a lot of effort.
I like
to make it look good would have been very hard.
The single frames Berserk 1997 fucking style, old school anime. Just have everything be a fucking slideshow. I love it. Fuck these motion babies.
One thing that's going to be interesting as well is just I think watching them when the scout. I mean, obviously they're using thunder spears to get through a lot of it, but like we're in Shiganshina with hundreds of Titans attacking, and this time the scouts just fucking obliterate them.
Yeah,
there's technology's changed. Everything's changed.
How they've grown. Yeah,
there's the Mikasa
because that was one thing I saw
the anime of her saving somebody.
Yeah, the anime onlys. I remember having a big thing about. Like when the Titans got summoned previous episode, how they like immediately got the callback because it played the same music as well after Thomas got eaten back during the fall of Trost. and how like it's like we've come full circle, we've come all the way around again, but this time we're gonna see what I mean, how long has it been since then? 3.5 years.
Yeah,
3.5 years have done since then.
Only 3.5 years. Wow.
Well, it's been. I mean, yeah, because Trost happened at the end of the 5 years following the fall, and then it's been 3 years since.
I thought it was 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
4 years. Yeah.
4 years. Sorry, 4 years. You're right.
That's still so small. It is one of those things where you get to season 3 in the anime and like it's only been
3 months.
3 months since, and I'm just like, oh my word! It's like you're gonna make a Hunter x Hunter reference. Come around talk when the commentator's like, it's only been 4 minutes and 10 seconds.
This happens so much in the Boo saga of Dragon Ball Z, where the whole saga, not 300, but like 100 episodes, 2 days. 2 days. Let's go.
Oh, goodness me.
Because they say, like, this morning this happened, and you're like, no, you're lying to me in this moment. It is not this morning. Everybody that was killed today, let's wish them back with the Dragon Balls. You're lying. But nope. This morning. But anyway.
I wonder if... I wonder, like, Kaya gets attacked by Nile Doc's Titan. I wonder if they're going to have to do anything in the anime to make it more obvious that it's Nile. Have like an emotional moment. They did cut a lot of Nile
stuff in season 3. The impact will be lessened, I think. But
Nile was so good. I loved him.
Yeah, and the problem is as well that, like, obviously the person who would realize that would be Falco, but he's not there for that scene. But Gabby doesn't know who Nile is. Yeah. Kaya doesn't know who Nile is.
I think it'll just be like a thing.
Like,
hold on, I got the first battery saver thing, so we do have to wrap up in like the next 10 minutes max. 10 minutes max. But I interrupted. I'm sorry.
Are we going to get an Annie Hitch? Is that her name?
Yes. The interesting thing is,
I don't think we're going to get Hitch this episode.
Yeah, because okay. I don't think the next chapter is enough for a whole episode, but the next chapter does end with Annie waking up, and the next chapter after that starts with Hitch doing stuff and then going back inside. So I think we might have to cut some stuff post Hitch in the 2 chapters afterwards. They do this sometimes, and put some of those scenes in next episode. But a lot of this is Annie talking with Hitch, like more than half the chapter. The rest of it is Annie's dad.
Maybe they will have it.
Leading a revolt.
Maybe they will have it, but at the same time, ending an episode with Annie, with that shot of Annie out of the crystal, that is such a good way to end an episode. Because if we go to 125, does 125 have that same sort of...
It starts with her and Hitch. It starts with Hitch, and then Hitch goes in, and Hitch throws her around.
A big random chunk of 125. I mean, there is a bunch of stuff for 125, actually.
These chapters 125
is like...
They are.
40 pages. 125 actually has a bunch of different things going on, so it is actually entirely possible, because we get Annie's backstory with Hitch, we get Annie's chat with Hitch, and then we get Mr. Leonhardt trying to get past the guards, and then we get the recruits patching up Shadis. We get Armin and Mikasa having a chat about Eren and what his motivations are.
Not cool.
Argument, yeah. We get... We get Flock executing some volunteers. There's a load of... Actually, chapter 125 is kind of like just, here's a catch-up on all your characters. So I think that they could probably rip a load of stuff from that without worrying about the order. We get Connie taking Falco.
Yeah. The only problem
we get Hanji meeting with Magath and Peak.
Yeah. The problem is that they definitely are going to end the episode after next with the Alliance Let's Save the World thing, which... So maybe they do drag things out next chapter, and we do end on the Annie stuff. Maybe Annie is the mid-credits thing. I'm not sure.
Something I thought was kind of funny, actually, speaking of mid-credits, is did you notice how the mid-credits scene for this episode happened 5 minutes before it finished?
No, I did not.
You may not realize that. I didn't realize because it happened, and I was like, wait, are we only halfway through the episode? And then I looked at the timer, and it's like 5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, because the Ymir stuff started 7 minutes in. Because... Yeah, they tied
I mean, also the music transition for that was so seamless as well. Like you go, like if I wasn't watching it, like I wouldn't have noticed that the thing just popped up because of music. Because also something you can notice where there's a gap, and like it makes it very clear. Like for example, in the better anime and manga, frankly, of Demon Slayer, you can clearly tell where there's a change. So.
We also might get naked Reiner Armored Titan next episode.
Oh, let's go!
Quite sexy.
Yeah.
Actually, less sexy. I
guess a question as well. I guess we should maybe be doing this. Where do we think the season's going to end? Now that we're almost convinced it's getting a movie, what chapter do we think the season's ending on?
I have no idea.
But
that's a little far.
I thought that would push it a little far. I assumed. Did I say in my head? I think I thought the end of 130.
Which is
the end of 130
Eren.
would be a phenomenal.
Bacon has no idea what's happening in these chapters. He didn't remember half the stuff in the episode. He doesn't remember chapter 130. I think 130 is the first of the middle Eren chapters. So
31's the one where he does the freedom big panel.
I think
right?
so.
No, that's
31.
That's the chapter after. 30 is the one where it ends with
them
him
coming
destroying
down.
31,
Marley.
31,
It shows
sorry.
the flashback of his mum getting eaten, and he's like, "I'm going to destroy them, every last one of those animals that's on this earth." Like, I've got it on my screen just now. That shot. Imagine ending the series on that shot.
Yeah,
I reckon they just don't end the series. Just end it there. Just don't make a movie. Then we're good.
Yikes.
That would be pretty funny.
Well, then the movie. Oh, actually, a clever open for the movie might be Ram's the kids. I always fuck up their names, and then they hear the rumbling.
Yes.
The cold open for the movie.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean that would.
Hold on. Just before I forget, the crows were there when Ymir transforms the first time, and I know that's something that happens with the rumbling. So I thought that was a cute little detail. I don't remember if that was in the manga, but Mr. R, I screamed over you. What were you gonna say?
I was just going to say, that would be a cool open. I assumed that the movie would have like 10 minutes of recap as well. When they do it, it'll have like just a reminder of.
They could do a cool.
There's no way they have 10 minutes because if they're doing from 130, that means they've got 9 chapters to adapt, and that's like how fast that's definitely more than 5 episodes of like TV, and TV's 20 minutes. So like then they're normally 90 minutes. So like I guess they could do 100 minutes.
That fucking Ava movie was 2.5 hours. I think the other one was 3 hours.
Oh,
they
I
can
see.
do this shit.
Okay.
Like Attack on Titan, they'll give them everything.
Wait, how long was
they
the Demon
want
Slayer
to make
one?
that film.
How long was the Demon Slayer
It was
one? That's
130.
probably more.
I think it was 90 minutes.
That's probably more analogous.
Mugen Train runtime. The Mugen Train movie was 2 hours long.
Oh, it was? Okay. Don't listen to me. I'm wrong about everything.
Oh wait, no. It was 117 minutes was the Mugen Train.
Oh wow, that is long. 100. No, it says 1 hour and 57 minutes. So 2 hours.
Which is 100.
Your name is 150. So it seems 2 hours is quite common.
I think
Bleach,
90. I think like 70 to 80 minutes is more like a lower budget anime film.
Oh, I see.
I guess.
I see.
I mean, because the thing is, Mugen Train was an entire arc of a manga. Like, we had like 7 episodes. It was 7. Mugen Train was 7 or 8 episodes, I think.
Oh, I see.
When it was readapted into the series, it was 7 or 8 episodes.
Man, that's going to be quite a party. Going to.
I don't want to go to the fucking
see
theater.
That with a few minutes.
I want to sit. Maybe we'll see.
Oh, you just need to get a few friends.
Yeah, hold on.
Or family members.
I'm not going with nobody else, all right? Maybe I'll drag my little brother. Hold on, Mr. R. We should do this for the Uncharted
little
movie.
brother?
This is expanding
on the lore.
Yeah, I've just mentioned this little fucking prick all the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we might have to do one of these for the Uncharted movie. Bacon, you want to see the Uncharted movie?
No.
Yeah,
frankly. I want to play the games.
Yeah.
I want to play the games before the movie.
I mean, I'll watch it. I mean, if you want to do one of these for the Uncharted movie, I will struggle, but I will go and see it.
It's gonna be good. I've got hope. But yeah.
Why?
We might. That was just an idea I had.
Got famous British boy Tom Holland.
Yeah, and what's the other dude's name? Mark Wahlberg. I think I called him Bruce Willis last time, but whatever. It'll be fine. The trailers look cool. But that's a whole different fucking story. Watch my second channel video on the fucking Uncharted trailer. I think it comes out in like 20 days, 27th or the 20th or something. We'll see. Maybe we'll do that. It depends entirely if I end up seeing it. We probably have to wrap things up pretty quickly here. So, any final thoughts? We'll go Bacon first.
I am looking forward to the rest of the episodes. I'm very much enjoying the anime. And we'll see how it ends up. I'm looking forward to it.
Yes. Okay, Mr. R.
Yeah, similar. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what we got. I think problem is based on what I think will be in a film. I feel like in terms of episode quality, we probably have peaked with this episode and the previous ones. Like they're some of the best chapters in the manga ever. So it's kind of going to be a sort of like we've hit that sort of when you have like the engagement curve or the hype curve. We've kind of hit that peak. And then it's going to come back and level out a little bit. It's not like going to get bad. It's just going to sort of, we've hit that sort of the absolute height of holy shit.
I feel like we were saying
and
this
now it's
2
probably going to sort
ago.
of level out a little bit.
We'll see. I think the quality might stay the same. If anything, the directing...
It's less of a quality thing. It's less of a quality thing and more of an, like a sort of in terms of how much excitement you can have. We're kind of...
Yeah,
but then
that
again,
is
we
true.
are only 5 episodes out of what, 12? So if it has hit a peak, then it is kind of early. It really depends what they choose to end it on. Like the final episode will be hype as fuck.
I think that like one of the last episodes will be the big port fight, which is one of my favorite Attack on Titan like action set pieces. So
so we're gonna get a load of we are gonna see some. Well, yeah, we're gonna get a bit more action, but I think it's gonna sort of level out again, kind of like just after how the raid of Liberio, we had a few chapters of mostly just characters talking.
Yeah,
or a few episodes of mostly just characters talking.
Chapters. Oh, we do have the fight.
So that's where we're
scene.
kind of going.
We'll see.
I suppose we do have that.
Yeah.
How so
I got
the
fucking thingy. Mr. Bacon, I'm sorry. It's always you. It's always you that gets cut off when you're getting into something, and I have to scream about the battery. But I do have the alert.
I completely forgot about it. Don't worry.
Because I screamed at you.
Got my point.
But I think this was a pretty good success. We handled 3 people pretty well. I feel like everybody talked pretty well. You let me go on my feminism thing. But yeah, I think we worked pretty well together.
And we haven't been cancelled. Yeah. Well, never mind. Didn't pull the Ethernet plug, so we're doing good.
But with that being said, next week we'll probably try and do the same thing if all goes well and the episode is good. We will probably even do it if the episode isn't good. But with that being said, for my YouTube audience, check out these 2 in the description below. But other than that, support links in the description below. Thanks.